special teams, and Marcus Murphy, he had a pretty good run today in practice, but that has been one of the question marks on if Sean Payton was going to be patient enough to be able to keep Murphy on because of those two fumbles last season. One was a cough up that really could have been damaging in that Giants game. So talk to me, what are your real thoughts about what's going to happen with these running backs, man?
Well, first of all, I thought it was interesting that Sean Payton brought up Lasco on the special teams, making a tackle of all things. You don't typically hear about a running back playing on the kickoff team, making a tackle. But one thing I was taught as a kid, and I hope that they still teach it now with young football players, you can make an entire career playing special teams.
Yeah.
You can
Steve
cement
Gleason.
yourself a spot on a team playing special teams.
Steve Gleason.
And maybe that's what Lasco is going to try to do. Because honestly, I don't see Lasco, Murphy, or Cadet beating out Mark Ingram, Hightower, or Spiller. Mm-hmm. I think the three of them are locks. Obviously, Ingram and Spiller got the long-term deals last season before the season started. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be really interesting. I liked bringing Cadet in last season. I thought Cadet is one of those players where he's familiar. You're bringing back a familiar face, a guy that knows the playbook, and we saw it in the two games that he filled in for C.J. Spiller. Mm-hmm. He had 70-plus yards all-purpose. He scored a touchdown in one of those games. He played really well. Mm-hmm. So part of me wants to lean towards Cadet, but at the same time, I saw Murphy's ability and his home run ability in person right there in Carolina, down the street from where I do a lot of my work. I got to go to that game, and I saw him return a 76-yard punt to the end zone. I got to see how electric he really is. But then you have Lasco, who you watch his tape at Cal, and he's an electrifying running back. He's a little undersized, but I guess the Saints are used to undersized backs. I think Darren Sproles is a perfect example of that.
Well, I'm kind of confused, though, BB, because Sean Payton called him big and strong.
I mean, he just looks little. And maybe it's because everybody else around him's so big. I mean, let's be honest. Mark Ingram's a big guy. Hightower's a big guy. But I think Lasco is probably, out of the three of them, the most likely to get the spot. Mm-hmm. And that's because of what I've heard Sean talk about in terms of his ability on special teams, whether it's playing kickoff, making the tackle, his ability to return kicks. That's a guy that we really haven't heard about all too much. We've heard Murphy in terms of kick returns. We've heard Spiller's been taking some, but Lasco's been taking them as well. And I think if anybody makes that fourth running back spot, it'll be Lasco or Cadet. I hate to say it to Murphy, but I don't think Murphy's going to make the team. And it's not because there isn't talent there, and it's not because we haven't seen sparks of it, especially in the preseason last year. We saw plenty of sparks of Marcus Murphy, but he's just going to be the odd guy out.
Well,
because the Saints have this thing where, for whatever reason, between undrafted free agents, late draft picks, whatever the case may be, they always find great running backs, and he's just the odd guy out.
Well, it's going to be the battle of the last two 7-round draft picks coming into this training camp, man. And we're going to see what's going to happen with those guys. Go ahead.
Can I say this? If I was Sean Payton, whoever doesn't make it, you better put him on a practice squad, because Mark Ingram, C.J. Spiller, and Hightower are injury prone. All three of them could get hurt. I hope it don't happen. All three of them could get hurt in this season and all be out. The Saints have a bad history of injury prone running backs, so I would not, whichever one don't make it, you better find a way to keep them and put them on the practice squad, because Mark Ingram has not played a full season yet. Hightower has not played a full season yet, and C.J. Spillers, out of the last two, even in Buffalo, has not made it to a full season. So they need to be very careful of throwing away either one of those guys and find a way to put them on that practice squad with Allen and Turner if they don't make the team. Turner, Allen, and Lasco, if they're not starters, find a way to keep them, because injuries are part of the factor that you must factor into a season.
Definitely. Hold on.
Good. A little sore right now after the 3 days have passed, but I mean, I'm good. Were you ever, like, how long has it been since you felt like 100%? You know what I mean? Like, felt like your old self. You know what I mean?
Oh, man, I ain't felt 100% probably since Little League, but before training camp, the last training camp, I felt good. And it been spurts throughout the season, like, I felt good. So just had bad luck of getting hurt after I was feeling good, yeah.
Now, Saints fans, they come to me and say, when you say Ellerby, tell them we need him to have about, I guess, a handful of games like he did on that Thursday night when Atlanta came to town. I know you're capable, but is that what you're looking forward to be able to do on the field?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was one of my – it was an all right game, I say. I mean, I feel like I could do that more. I could do that every game, depending on – I mean, every offense is different. You get some offenses that throw on the perimeter more, so it's going to be harder for me to make them type of tackles. But, I mean, teams that run the ball more and throw the ball over the middle more, I mean, I'll be able to do that.
Now, you made the original cameo on Ballers. Did Sean come to you, ask for a little advice?
Nah, I just found out that he was on it last night when I was looking on Instagram and stuff. But, yeah, I got that ship out, helped get that ship out the road.
Have a listen.
How you feel? How you look good? How are you feeling coming into camp?
Man, I feel really good. I feel healthy. I feel light. I feel fast. I feel quick. I feel elusive. I feel confident, and so I'm excited about the things. I'm really looking forward to this year.
Talk about this offense. Last year, you guys did some things, but it only led to a 7-9 record. What can you do to make this offense, let's say, better than last year?
I have to be explosive. I have to be a guy that can go in there and do everything from picking up the pass protecting Drew, catching the ball out the backfield. I have 50 catches, so I want to build on that from last year, and definitely running the ball inside, outside, just being effective in every asset of the game, every facet of the game.
You're a vested veteran. What do you come in camp, and how do you, when you come to camp, how do you get yourself motivated?
Man, you got to embrace the day, embrace the grind. It's not going to last forever. There's a clock on every one of our careers, and I still have a lot of things that I want to accomplish. I want to be the greatest ever to have the football in my hands. You know, that's a lot to say. You know, sitting here having an interview from you, and many guys that are in the league now and that have come before me, I have a tremendous amount of respect for that. But that's what keeps me going. That's what keeps me motivated, man, is I want to be the best.
How about Drew and his focus, his dedication to his craft, and talk about his leadership on the field?
Man, Drew is it's a tremendous blessing to be able to play under a quarterback like that from my rookie year, to learn how to be a pro, to learn how to prepare, to see how he goes through every single one of his progressions, every single play, to see how he gets people in position, gets everybody lined up. He's in here early. He's out late. There's no secret of why he's that great.
Talk about that running back room. I mean, you're the leader in the running back room. Tell me what it's like. Introduce me to a new guy that we don't know much about.
Our running back room is very special. I think we have 6 backs that I don't know if anybody has 6 backs on their team that can definitely go anywhere and play in this league. But Daniel Lasco, he's definitely a young guy, a draft pick that we got in the 7th round, I think. He's big, he's physical, he can run. He can cut. So I think that's somebody that everybody needs to look out for. I think everybody knows Marcus Murphy from last year, doing a little punt return and kick return for us, sometimes carrying the ball. Travaris Cadet had a big year for us at the end of the year. Tim Hightower, C.J. Spiller. We got a number of guys who are very effective and bring a lot of different strengths to the table. But I think as a group, I think we're the best around.
What?
Okay, BB, I'm going to throw this to you. What are some of your just a quick takeaways from what you heard from Ellerby, as well as what you heard from the interview with Mark Ingram?
Well, I'm excited to hear Ellerby feels a lot better. I've read a lot of things where he's doing a lot of different things. He's being very versatile, whether that's going and breaking up a pass downfield and breaking it out of the hands of Toby Fleener, or whether that's making a big tackle up by the offensive line. It's going to be nice to see him back in the form that he was towards the beginning of the season, especially that Atlanta game. When it comes to Mark Ingram, I love Mark Ingram. I think Mark Ingram is one of my favorite Saints backs of all time. He's actually on pace to tie or break all of Deuce McAllister's rushing records for franchise history in the same amount of time that Deuce set the records. Now, Mark hasn't been healthy, and I can tell you Deuce wasn't healthy for every year either, but looking at Mark Ingram's numbers, especially the last few years, 14 and 15, 964 yards on the ground in 14, 769 in 15, and especially in 15, something that's going to be overlooked is he only played 12 games, and he had 1,200 all-purpose yards in 12 games. That's 100 yards a game for Mark Ingram, which is something the Saints really haven't had since those Deuce McAllister days, where you can rely on a back to get you 100 all-purpose yards a game. I think Mark said it best. We just talked about this group of 6 potential running backs. They might be the most talented group in the entire NFL. Now it's Sean Payton's job to figure out how we're going to utilize every single one of them and use their skills to benefit this football team.
Wow. Yeah. I look at every one of those guys, Ingram, Spiller, especially Spiller. Right now, he has a lot to prove to make sure that he's healthy again. You got those young guys, Cadet. You have Lasco as well as Murphy. But, Hightower is really going to be the stabilizing force within that whole committee. If something happens to Ingram, we know we have Hightower. And if we have Hightower, then we know we have a guy that is just as powerful and as elusive as Ingram, in my opinion. And I like the way that Hightower can break runs on the outside as well. And he is healthier this season as well. And he gets a full training camp underneath him to be able to prove that. Any takeaways from the interviews, what you heard, Professor?
No, I think they're just the standard conversations, and everybody's staying upbeat and positive, which is attributes that you really, really, really like. And I know we're about to wrap up the show, so at this time, I'll just give you guys the revelation that I uncovered. I want to share with you and BB and the audience, to the listeners. Since the 21st century, which is only 17 years old, here's the pattern. Every 7 years, starting with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, then the Saints, every 7 years, an NFC South team has won the Super Bowl. Now, what the other trend is, this is not a good one. Over the last 10 years, only one team south of I-40. If you know anything about the geographics, I-40 runs from North Carolina through Tennessee, through Arkansas, Oklahoma, and then it ends somewhere around Colorado, New Mexico, or into Texas, somewhere around there. Only one team in the last 10 years south of I-40 has won a Super Bowl. And which team is that, BB?
I mean, it's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Pretty obvious, that's right.
Pretty obvious.
The New Orleans Saints. The Saints
yeah.
are the only team. All of 9 out of 10 of the last Super Bowl winners are teams that are up north, either the Northeast, Baltimore Ravens, Giants won twice, New England Patriots, Pittsburgh Steelers. Are they in the Midwest, Indianapolis Colts, Green Bay Packers? Are they in the Northwest, Seattle Seahawks, or the Rocky Mountains, Denver Broncos? No team in the South but the Saints have won a Super Bowl over the last 10 years, and only the Saints and Tampa Bay have won a Super Bowl in the South over the last 16 years. Teams in the South, so it does not bid well for the Carolina Panthers, the Saints, Jacksonville, Miami, Tampa Bay, Dallas, Houston, Arizona, the Rams. It does not build great if your latitude and longitude is below where the I-40 corridor runs. So
Okay.
I'm hoping that the first pattern is the answer, that maybe this is the year for the Saints or the Carolina Panthers. Who knows?
Well, I don't know much about the topography and the geography, but I know the Saints. I believe that we have a good, solid team, but of course, it must be proven on the gridiron. And if we see these guys do well, and I'm really